folks, it's Jeff here. Just a quick reminder, if you're loving Disney Coast to Coast, there are a couple of easy ways that you can support the show. We'd love it if you could rate and review us on iTunes, or wherever you listen to the show. This is a simple way to help other Disney fans find us. Also, go ahead and share your favorite episodes on social media and be sure to tag us. You can find all of our social media information at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. And finally, I just want to say thank you to all of you who listen every week. Your support is very appreciated, and we love that you're enjoying our Disney geekiness. Now on with the show.
Get ready for your weekly dose of pixie dust with Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePaoli.
And I'm Aaron Fairbanks.
And Aaron Fairbanks.
It's a sad week.
Are you ready to cry about the closure of the great movie ride?
I might cry.
Okay, let's go.
Get ready to dig deep in today's Disney dialogue.
So sadly, this is the end of the road for the great movie ride. It does officially close this upcoming Sunday along with the Energy Pavilion or the Energy Adventure or Ellen's Energy Adventure, whatever you want to call it, over at Epcot. Their Energy Adventure's not going to get a full show, but Great Movie Ride is. But I am very sad to see that go. Now, the Great Movie Ride to me really is the icon of Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's the attraction that's been there since opening day, May 1st, 1989.
It's the only attraction that's still there from opening day.
There will officially be no opening day attractions at Disney's Hollywood Studios at this point. That's right. That's sad. And it's such an iconic part of that park. You know, that park has had problems finding its icon. Obviously, Spaceship Earth is Epcot's icon. Cinderella Castle is Magic Kingdom's icon. Disney Hollywood Studios had the Eiffel Tower. It's had the Chinese Theater. It's had the Sorcerer's Hat. It's had Tower of Terror. They were kind of interchangeable. But I do feel that the Great Movie Ride is like that anchor.
Yeah.
And I'm going to miss it so much. But the interesting story behind the Great Movie Ride is that it started at Epcot as part of a pavilion there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just going to be great moments in movies.
Yeah.
But the idea kind of grew, and Michael Eisner and Marty Sklar decided that, hey, this is a concept we can make a whole park out of.
And they heard that the neighbors were moving in down the street, Universal Studios, Florida. But yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, it was interesting because back in this time, 1989, and then Universal was 1990. This was a period of time where like DVD didn't exist.
Right.
Special features weren't a thing. Like, the magic of the movies was a mystery at this point, and yes, these parks have outgrown that whole behind-the-scenes thing. We all know way too much about how movies are made. I hate it personally. I've always likened this to going to see a great magician like David Copperfield and being like, let me show you how we did it all. Like, that's what I feel like we're in now. It's very weird, and obviously that's what the parks did as well. But we're beyond that at this point. But as you said, it did start at Epcot, but the thing I found nuts about this is how much further the Great Movie Ride was supposed to go. This is a one-of-a-kind attraction.
Yeah.
There was never a replica made of this, but that wasn't the plan. This was supposed to be the main attraction at Disney MGM Studios Paris, which ended up it doesn't exist.
They did the Walt Disney Studios.
Yeah, the Walt Disney Studios Park exists now, but they were supposed to have a Disney MGM Studios in Paris soon after Euro Disneyland opened. We all know how that went, and of course, they decided to scrap that. So it never made it there, but where else were we supposed to see the Great Movie Ride?
We were going to see it in California Adventure.
Disney California Adventure was supposed to... Actually, no. Disneyland first.
Disneyland was going to have a Hollywood land expansion.
Yeah.
And I forget why that didn't go through.
It was budget. Disney, let's see, what was it going to be? The proposed Hollywood land at Disneyland never happened due to budget cuts. Yeah. This is the part that freaked me out, and I was so excited to read this and so angry it never happened. The Disney MGM Studio Backlot Project, a 40-acre film studio themed retail and entertainment district for downtown Burbank, which is literally minutes down the street from where we're recording this.
Yeah.
If there was... so it was basically a downtown Disney for downtown Burbank. Is what it sounded like with the Great Movie Ride.
And a park.
I'll tell you what, if it was like, okay, you got to pay $20 to get into the Great Movie Ride, I'd do that.
It wouldn't be just the Great Movie Ride.
I do feel like it would be like a Disney Quest type of situation. Like it would be a shopping complex where the main purpose was shopping and eating, and then there was like an attraction you could go into.
There'd be more than one attraction.
Maybe a couple.
Yeah, maybe like a tour.
Yeah, but my guess is it would be individual tickets to get into these things. I would pay it, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
I think that would be phenomenal. I'm very upset that that doesn't exist. But then, as you mentioned, Disney California Adventure, when that eventually opened, it was supposed to go in there as well.
Yep.
Budget cuts, that didn't happen. And then, of course, there was the Muppet Movie Land at MGM that was supposed to happen, where they were supposed to have a Great Movie Ride ripoff called the Great Muppet Movie Ride, where they were going to go through classic scenes just like the original attraction, with the Muppets taking the place of the characters, which they so often do in movies like Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol, etc., etc. But after Jim Henson's death, it affected that land altogether. I just love that it's so interesting that the Great Movie Ride was supposed to be so much more than it ever became. And now we're losing it. That's not funny. Why are you laughing?
I mean, it stands on its own.
It certainly
doesn't need any other ripoffs or farces.
I would have loved the Great Muppet Movie Ride.
The Great Muppet Movie Ride, granted, would be pretty cool.
That would be fantastic. I'd be all about that. Of course, recently, back in 2015, there was a slight change to the Great Movie Ride. Really, there were small changes throughout the years, but when Turner Classic Movies took it over and Robert Osborne became the host in 2015, that was the biggest change. I really did think, now at that point there were already rumors about the Great Movie Ride going away.
Right.
I thought that might have been the saving grace for it. It was like, oh, there's a new sponsor. They're actually making some sort of changes to it. Maybe it's going to be around another decade. Nah, didn't happen.
Nope.
A 2-year sponsorship, apparently.
Yeah.
But if you're not familiar with the Great Movie Ride, it is an attraction where you ride through some of the greatest movies of all time, and it's a full-fledged, dark ride with tons of audio animatronic figures. And let's go through the list real quickly of the movies you will see, because one of the interesting things about this is there are representation from basically every major studio in Hollywood, minus Universal Studios for obvious reasons. But it starts with Footlight Parade, which is a Warner Brothers musical.
Busby Berkeley.
One of those old, what are they called, synchronized swimming musicals. Now, this sequence of the attraction is interesting because this is one that gave them a lot of problems. Originally, had you ever seen the original version of this?
Yeah.
Where it's spun and the water spouts and everything?
Yes.
I must have, actually, I know I did, because I went to Disney's Hollywood Studios opening year, and so I must have seen that. I don't really remember it. These days, the figures are static, and there's just some lighting trickery and scrims and
they put
projection now.
Probably like 6 or 7 years ago, they put a screen up, and now they project the like kaleidoscope looking images.
Honestly, I don't think I think it's fine. Like, obviously knowing what it was better. But I think what they did is fine. I never look at it and be like, oh, that was a cop-out.
Now that I think of it, it's only one of 2 black and white movies that's represented in the attraction.
What's the other one?
Casablanca.
Oh, yeah, that's black and white, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond that, so this is kind of like the musicals section of the Great Movie Ride. Beyond that, we have Singing in the Rain, which is an MGM film. Disney MGM Studios, that works, right?
Yeah.
Classic.
Singing in the Rain. It's great.
Is it?
Yeah.
I like Singing in the Rain. It's not my favorite, gotta be honest. I've seen it once, and people love Singing in the Rain.
It's good.
I'm like, it's Singing in the Rain. But
Fred Astaire?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Is it Fred Astaire? No, it's not Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
No.
Not in the scene.
It's Gene Kelly.
It's Gene Kelly.
Is Fred Astaire in it too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Debbie Reynolds.
That's right.
Yeah. Make 'em laugh. Fred Astaire. Is that Fred Astaire? I guess it is. I haven't seen it in such a long time.
Debbie Reynolds.
Literally seen it once. Oh, so you care about Debbie Reynolds? You don't. Fred and Gene are dead too.
Yeah, but Debbie.
Okay, Debbie touches his heart, apparently.
It's sad.
And then you head into Mary Poppins, which I've always liked this scene. I think this is a great little scene.
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim true.
The Oscar-winning song from Mary Poppins, indeed.
It's a great song.
That, of course, is a Disney movie. So, go ahead.
I always think this is a weird scene because a great movie, great scene in the movie. But it's so weird because you're literally like staring up at Mary Poppins like above you.
I like that.
It's just kind of odd.
Is it?
Yeah.
I like it. Some people say that she's scary looking in that scene.
She is kind of scary looking.
I don't see it, but so I think it's interesting in like the first seconds of that ride, we've already hit Warner Brothers, MGM, and Disney, and then we head into the gangster films with Public Enemy.
Well, it's kind of like I like the next few sections because they're just kind of like general genre.
Yeah.
And they feature Public Enemy,
James
Cagney. But then you get to roll up and be a part of a gangster film.
Maybe.
One of two options.
So this is interesting because the next two rooms. So basically, when the attraction starts, there's two different trams that are kind of experiencing the attraction together, and then they split up. There's this whole gangster scene, and then there's a western scene next. In one of these two rooms, you will stop and have an extended scene, and then you meet up again at the end of the attraction. It's kind of interesting that they did this.
I will say, so when Turner Classic Movies took over, the few things they changed were they changed the pre-show, so there was constantly a
trailers,
reel, and they changed that so it was Robert Osborne talking about like movies that were in the attraction. And then he narrates most of the attraction.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved about it is because there are these scenes where the tram, what would you call, like the tram host?
Oh, the host, yeah.
Yeah, the host interacts with characters and has a speaking role. It felt kind of out of place when it was like Robert Osborne narrating and then they like break it like, sorry Robert, I'm gonna interrupt you now. But in the heyday of the attraction, it'd be so great because if you get a good host, which is kind of essential, you get this great personality and then they like break into a scene with either the gangster or the western scene.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about the gangster scene?
Sure.
What do you now that you
because
usually
the James,
get the gangster one,
the
right?
James, yeah, I think so. If it's not running on full speed and there's not two vehicles going through, it's the gangster one that stops at, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this gangster scene, the what is he, a robber?
Muggsy. Muggsy comes out,
holds up the car.
Yeah. And
our host comes to the rescue? Not really.
Really, he's just he's looking for a getaway car. And I have to call this out because there's a couple animatronics that that Muggsy interacts with. Mm-hmm. And just so you know, if it's a man or a woman, it's still Muggsy. It's just Muggsy with an I if it's a female host. But I love that I didn't know this until we were researching, but his companions are Squid and Beans.
Oh.
So there's two guys on the side with him that are Squid and Beans. And then a car comes out and it's like rival gangsters and they start firing on on Muggsy and his crew. Mm-hmm. And those guys are named Brains, Legs, and Weasel.
Squids, Beans, Brains,
Legs,
and Weasel?
Yeah, so
it feels like a mix of what was that show on Disney Channel with Beans, the character Beans, with Shia LaBeouf?
Your Holes.
No, that was the movie. Even Stevens.
Even Stevens.
Even
yeah,
Stevens.
Sorry.
We got a mix of Even Stevens. We got Weasel. It makes me think of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Like we got a mix of weird Disney characters. Yeah. That's weird. All right, I didn't even know that.
Anyway, so the way he gets away is he steals the tram and you're stuck on board with them.
Yeah, so he basically becomes your host with Robert Osborne at that point.
At that point, yeah. Who's this guy talking to me?
I don't know who this is, but I better keep it down. And he probably says something stupid like that. But then they roll on into the next room, which is the Western room. Now, we do get some minor representation of films in there as well. A Fistful of Dollars with Clint Eastwood. That's a United Artists
film. He's the man with no name.
Yep. And then, really? I've never seen that movie.
Oh.
And then The Searchers with John Wayne, which is another Warner Brothers film. And this is the second room that you might if you don't stop in the gangster room, you're stopping in here. This one has pyrotechnics, so it kind of gets, a little bit of a bump there.
Yeah.
But once again, instead of a gangster coming out, you're getting
an outlaw.
An outlaw, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a similar situation. There's
his friends don't have good names though.
No, did
I don't
check?
I don't know. They didn't have like specific names for those guys.
It's Squirmy and
no, it's the same guys, just in a new movie. So
Squirmy and Hee Haw. That would actually be kind of Squirmy and Hee Haw. I like that. Those are great names. That'd be cool if like they were the exact same animatronics. But you do see them. So even if you don't experience the Western room,
they have masks on. So
that's
maybe
true.
It could be the same guys.
It's actually presidents.
It's Woodrow Wilson,
totally.
Richard Nixon,
Some leftover presidents. That'd be amazing. But yeah, even if you don't like experience that full scene as you drive through, there's still a lot of action happening at that point. So that's cool. I do wonder the logistics behind that. Like, it just must be a crowd control thing. It must get more people through the attraction, I guess, and it makes it a repeatable attraction.
Yeah,
one of the first repeatable attractions back in 1989. Look at that. See, so ahead of its time. Beyond that, we go into Alien, which is 20th Century Fox.
Oh.
This is a scary scene.
As a child, as a small child, not knowing, like never seeing the Alien movies and being like, wow, this is a lot of fun.
You sounded like Mickey as a child.
Yeah, I did.
Weird.
Wow. I sounded like Mickey.
Excuse me, Mickey Fantasmic.
I sounded like Mickey during Fantasmic. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, this scared the living daylights out of me.
It's intense, yeah.
When the alien because it comes out at different points. So like you're building and you see Sigourney Weaver with her flamethrower, and then
which I wish threw flames. That'd be so great.
It's lit though, right? I think it's got like a pilot light going.
Oh, really? I don't know.
But then it's like there's strobe light, like spray coming out, like fog coming out at the side, like, oh, okay. And then like spray, fog, he's coming down and getting you, and his jaws are clamping and he's salivating, and it's really intense.
It is an intense scene. I've still never seen that movie, though.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like supernatural. You don't like sci-fi monsters.
I don't like sci-fi monsters so much. I think
great
they're
movie,
kind of
though.
stupid.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll check it out someday.
It's very scary.
Okay. Yeah. And then we head into a section that actually kind of makes sense in the park. We get a Raiders of the Lost Ark scene, of course, with the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular right next door.
Snakes.
Why did it have to be snakes? This is a Lucasfilm. Now, what I find so interesting is right after this, they have this little throwback to horror. In fact, doesn't the host say, my favorite genre of movie, horror, or something like that? They all say it's their favorite.
Well, you're skipping one of the most important parts.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Back to Indiana Jones, yes.
So you're still in some kind of ancient temple.
Yes.
And at this point, you see a jewel up on a platform.
Yeah.
And the gangster or the bank robber, whichever one it is, he gets
so greedy.
He gets very greedy, and he decides he's gonna steal this gem. And there's a priest-like figure up there who Halt. Yes. And of course, like any good movie, the bad guy gets it in the end, and he totally fries. I love that gag too.
Yeah.
I think it's a great gag. And then the priest guy comes down, and it is your host returned from what Gangster Land or or the Old West, wherever he last got left.
Yeah, so you get the original host back. I am surprised that through all the years that the Great Movie Ride's been running, that they never got rid of this.
Why?
Because they could have paid half the amount of performers. Just think, if they got rid of the whole bank robbery, if you just drove through the bank robbery, drove through the Western Town, you could have the action going on from either side still. You don't need the whole scene. You could have kept your host. And/or when the Robert Osborne thing happened, got rid of the host altogether.
That's true.
I'm surprised that at some point during the life of this attraction, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't, but I'm surprised.
And like I mentioned, I've had really good experiences.
Yeah.
Some people are really into it, but there have been plenty of times when you get somebody who's just not into it, and it's like, why did you get assigned the gangster role?
Yeah.
Like you're obviously not interested in playing a part, so
Yeah. So after that, sorry, you correct
Then
me.
it goes
Then we get into this
into-
weird little horror thing.
Yeah.
But it's so minimal, and the reason I've always felt for this is because the birthplace of horror movies is Universal Studios. They're the ones who created Frankenstein and Dracula, like all those iconic.
Let's be real, they didn't create
those movies.
Yes, yeah.
They're the
Universal
classic,
monsters.
The Universal
That's-
monsters. That's their thing. So
their thing.
I've always felt like that was kind of why the horror film got such a small little piece of the pie in that attraction.
Yeah. Well, an Alien is technically horror.
It's sci-fi, but yeah,
It's horror.
horror.
It is horrific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fair.
Whoa!
Stop it. That is just not good. And then beyond that, Tarzan the Ape Man, another MGM film. This one I found very random. I never cared for this section of the attraction. I don't really care for Tarzan, though. I do like the Walt Disney Animated Feature.
It's important to the history of serialized film.
I guess. Yeah, I guess that's what it was. I never found it to be as important as like the other films mentioned in the attraction, but it does exist there.
Yeah.
And then super classic Warner Brothers film, Casablanca. I personally... What?
Does it go from... oh, that's right. Yeah.
Tarzan to Casablanca. I personally, sorry, don't send the hate mail, don't love this movie, but I recognize the importance of it in film history, and I think they do a beautiful job with the scene there. Even like the scrim making it look like another smoky night, and the plane there, and it's great. I
The
love it.
amount of three people's troubles don't amount to a hill of beans.
All I know is maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday. Right? Yeah. You better get on that plane, girlie. That's not what he says. I know,
Not
I mean,
say girly.
something like that. And then, of course, there's the great music. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And then Fantasia, which, did you know, was not supposed to be Fantasia.
No.
It's supposed to be part of the Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
You're supposed to be in the Cyclone,
Oh.
which is why it looks that way.
Interesting.
You're supposed to be in the Cyclone at that point. Apparently, there was a contractual problem where they could only use 2 scenes for the Wizard of Oz, and that was a 3rd scene. There was Cyclone, then Munchkinland, and then Emerald City.
Interesting.
So they got rid of the Cyclone and made a Fantasia. So there were some, classic Disney in there. Of course, I think that's important. And then the grand finale, where you meet back up with the second unit, is the Wizard of Oz, which has a great scene with the Wicked Witch, one of my favorite animatronics in the park. I really hope we get to see her somewhere else.
Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Oh, that was good. Yes, the whole Munchkin scene is recreated. It's a huge space. It's really, really, really cool. And then we see Dorothy and her 3 friends at Emerald City. And by the way, the voice of Dorothy in that scene is
Liza Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli, Judy Garland's daughter.
I did not know that, but
really,
by the way you got excited about it,
Liza Minnelli is the voice of Dorothy in that
Nice.
scene. So Liza has her handprints out in the Chinese courtyard there.
She deserves them for other reasons as well.
Along with Rick Moranis.
Does he?
Yes, he
I
does.
don't know who all has their handprints
Rick
out there.
Moranis has this handprints out there. But yeah, and then you basically go into a film montage, which has changed through the years. A lot of classic films are shown there.
It didn't change that much until the Turner Classic Movie.
Yeah, that was the big
update.
rehaul.
Because it was very set. They had music from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they had like a lot of
Before Disney owned them.
before Disney owned them. And now it's interesting because now it's got a lot of like Pixar, a lot of
Marvel.
Disney films, Marvel, like new Star Wars.
Yeah.
So when they redid the end video, it definitely got a lot more Disney IP injected into it.
Hey guys, it's Jeff, and I've got a question for you. Have you ever hired a travel agent and realized that instead of planning your dream vacation, they were planning their own instead? They just weren't listening to your wants and needs. Well, I've got a solution for you thanks to our Season 4 sponsor. Adventurers Out There Travel specializes in making sure that you get to do exactly what you want on your next Disney dream vacation. What specific type of magic do you want coming your way on the Disney vacation? They'll find out and hook you up, taking care of all of the heavy lifting. They're a full-service travel agency specializing in cruises, tours, single-night stays, and of course, the Disney vacation of a lifetime. So go ahead and visit adventuresouttheretravel.com for your free, no-obligation quote. So that's a quick rundown of the attraction as it is. Now, are there any... There are some movies, in my opinion, classic Hollywood movies that I can't believe weren't ever in the attraction. I'm curious, though, if there are any that you feel really should be represented more. And I'm not counting the film montage at the end. I'm saying, like, have a scene in an audio animatronic world.
Now, is this assuming that this movie would have been out at the time that the ride was made?
Yeah.
I definitely think Star Wars should have had a part in there, especially considering that they had a relationship with Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Maybe because they were making Star Tours, they didn't put it in.
Yeah. But Indy's in there, and they were doing Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
That's true. That's true. What about you?
Sunset Boulevard's the number one for me. Sunset Boulevard is one of the most, not only is it one of my favorite movies, but it's one of the most Hollywood movies of all time. And it's a park about Hollywood, right? I would think there is some small representation. They did put her in, Norma Desmond, in the film montage at the end. And they also have a character over on, what do they call them? What are the performers called in Disney's Hollywood Studios? Citizens of Hollywood.
Oh.
I think. They do have a character out there named Dorma Nesmond, which is...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a ripoff of Norma, and it's hilarious. She's one of my favorites. I love her.
Interesting.
But, to not have the grand staircase with Norma Desmond on it and say, and now, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up, I've always been like, how is that not a scene in here? Especially since that's a Paramount movie, and Michael Eisner came from Paramount. I'm like, they've got to have some sort of relationship there.
Interesting.
I don't know why that wasn't in there. That's like the biggest offense to me. But also Gone with the Wind. I feel like should be in there.
Yeah. Not
one of my personal favorites, but as iconically Hollywood movie grandeur as Casablanca, I would say.
Now, I wonder if Disney was trying to be very, very, very civil about divvying up credit to different studios, but I'm surprised they didn't do movies like Swiss Family Robinson, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, movies that established Disney as more than an animation studio.
Well, that leads to our next little portion here, because I want us to create, so let's just pretend this is not the case, the reasoning behind it, but let's pretend at least part of the reason that their great movie ride is going away is because Disney wants to rid their parks of IPs that they don't own.
Right.
I think that's a fair thing to say. Obviously, there's some contradiction there with Pandora and, of course, the Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror. But let's pretend. We've seen them in the past rid themselves of IPs they don't own. So let's recreate the great movie ride as we could see it, using only Disney properties. So that could be Lucasfilm, Marvel, Disney, Touchstone Pictures, whatever you want. I want to hear your rundown. What is your great movie ride?
Well, I think that I like the idea of it being chronological.
So, okay.
Starting with...
I like that.
Steamboat Willie.
All right.
I mean, not the first Disney picture. I mean, if they were really going back in time, like Alice comedies, that would be cool.
Okay. So this is more of a history of Disney than a celebration of the movies.
Well, it would be a celebration of the movies, but through, I mean, like
Disney's
we're saying, if they had to get rid of all other IP.
Okay.
So start with like the Alice comedies, go into Steamboat Willie, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
For sure.
Treasure Island.
Okay.
The original Treasure Island.
Yeah. Not the Muppet one.
Not Muppet. Well, Muppet, that would be in the Muppet
later.
movie ride.
Yeah, that's right. The Great Muppet movie ride.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea would be an amazing scene. Like them out on the hull of the Nautilus fighting the squid.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins. I would do, you know what I would do for Mary Poppins though?
What?
I think it would be cool to see them in the chalk drawing in the animated world.
Yeah.
So then you have like animatronic figures of the humans and maybe like them on the carousel horses, but then you could have an animated sequence playing behind them.
That'd be cool.
Moving into current day, I mean, they would have to hit. You would probably say Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I would say Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Maybe they could do like a montage of their golden age of animated classics. Then I would have to say Star Wars.
Okay.
They gotta fit Star Wars in there. I realize like it wouldn't be they didn't own it at the time that the original trilogy came out.
No, I'm talking about now. They own it now, yeah.
But like a great maybe like the Battle of Hoth. You don't know what I'm talking about.
That's the snow place,
yeah,
right?
the snow place. Yeah. You gotta have.
Don't judge me. I know what you're talking about when you say hot.
I would, a great like Darth Vader scene.
Oh, that'd be great. The
the
lightsaber battle between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Would be
Yes, yeah, in the Emperor's throne room. With,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Emperor Palpatine like sitting back,
Yeah,
chuckling evilly.
I like that.
And then I mean, I think they could definitely come into the new era with Marvel. I mean, I would love to see animatronic versions of all the Avengers.
Okay, wow. Yeah.
But if I could only choose one, it would be Iron Man. And Robert Downey Jr. already has his hand stamped. He already has his handprints out in the courtyard.
Does he?
Yeah.
For what?
For Chaplin. And
Wow, okay.
random
Way
story. This is the only time I ever saw an actor put their hands in the cement at Hollywood Studios. But because he was just coming off Chaplin, he had done a ton of physical training, a lot of like acrobatics and stuff. And so he did a handstand and he walked on his hands.
Those must be deep
into
handprints.
into the cement.
Wow.
I would love to see that. And then I think I just think they should. I think they could easily do a. Well, it wouldn't be a film, but I mean, Davy Crockett, Zorro. They've had such a rich history of putting their mark on contemporary cinema. So I don't know.
That's your great movie ride?
That's as close as I'm gonna get to a cohesive great movie ride.
Alrighty, I accept it. I like some of the ideas. Are you ready for mine?
I am very ready for yours.
So for my great movie ride, I kind of stayed in the similar layout to what they kind of have in genres, so what they have. So they start with musicals, as we mentioned. Obviously, I think Mary Poppins belongs there. I don't think they should remove Mary Poppins.
Okay.
I think some Bed Knobs and Broomsticks is appropriate.
Oh.
I think that would be nice. And of course, I mean, if we're talking classic Disney musicals, you gotta go Newsies. What?
Okay.
I think what? You don't think so?
It'd be interesting to see a Christian Bale animatronic.
I think Newsies, some Santa Fe would be lovely. Listen, I think it should start probably.
Yeah, but it'd be Christian Bale singing it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Look, I'm not offended by the movie. Okay. I like the movie a lot.
Yeah, the movie's great.
So it would probably be Bed Knobs and Broomsticks first, where the
Why Bed Knobs and Broomsticks first?
I just feel like that would fit in the space. I'm really thinking of like the current attraction.
Yeah.
At the Footlight Parade stuff, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, followed by Santa Fe, where Singing in the Rain is.
Okay.
Into the Mary Poppins. I think that would work lovely.
Okay.
I want that. Now, if we're gonna do that, got a gangster section after that. Calling Dick Tracy.
Haha, yeah.
Come on.
That'd be cool.
Right?
Well, and that wasn't that like originally?
They were going to have a dark ride attraction.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I would love to see some Dick Tracy representation.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. And then the Western, The Sign of Zorro. That was a movie, as you said. It was a TV show, but they did make a Zorro movie, at least one.
Yeah.
So The Sign of Zorro would be good. For the sci-fi section to replace Alien, I'd go with Star Wars and/or Tron.
Oh, interesting.
Is where I would go with that.
Okay.
But preferably both, I think. And as I read these, I just want to mention, these aren't necessarily all my favorite movies, but this is what I think would make a good great movie ride full of Disney property.
Yeah.
Adventure, we have a ton of options. We have Treasure Island, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Big adventure movie. Indiana Jones, I think, is very fitting. I think we could keep that. The Avengers, I think, belong in there. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, I think could work. And of course, you're talking high adventure. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. What's so funny?
What possible scene could they put in?
Are you kidding me? We could be in the scene with the giant
you're
bee.
already shrunk down.
Yeah, we're in the grass.
You remember they used to have the giant bee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As part of the backstage
You could
tour.
ride the giant bee.
Yeah, I do remember that. But I would love a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids scene amongst the giant blades of grass.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Hey, they could recycle the playground pieces.
Don't be a jerk. First of all, that's going into Toy Story Land. I'm still holding out faith for that.
I probably is, honestly.
I'm holding out faith.
Yeah.
Now, horror. Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Come on, Hocus Pocus.
That's a good plan.
Now,
You got 2 Kenny Ortega movies in there.
here's a terrible idea, but could do it if we really wanted. Ernest Scared Stupid.
Oh, no. Is that Disney?
It is.
Oh, weird.
It was Touchstone, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Anybody going through that was not like of a certain age would be like, who is this guy and why is he here? But listen, Hocus Pocus adjacent to Ernest
Yeah.
Scared Stupid just makes me giggle. And then, interestingly enough, Dimension at one point was owned by Disney.
Okay.
Dimension made Scream.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite horror movie.
Yeah.
Throw a little Scream in there. Happy camper. Jeff DePaoli, happy camper. That would make me happy. And then the drama, of course. I'd say a Pollyanna of sorts would be cool.
Armageddon.
Pearl Harbor I have down. Armageddon, Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
One and the same, right? And
Okay.
yeah. one and the
Yeah, basically the same movie.
Yeah, and then I haven't seen either of them, so to me, it's that they're both just disaster movies,
Yeah.
right? Is Armageddon completely like made up movie? Yeah,
It's
so-
about an asteroid hitting Earth.
Oh,
and-
okay, so that one's fake.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor, not so much.
Well, the movie's pretty fake, but
But yeah, either.
what in the same?
I don't know. I've literally never. I don't think I've seen a minute of either of those films.
Okay. I've
Truly.
seen Armageddon. I've never seen the.
If you're gonna choose one, choose Pearl Harbor. That's probably the better one.
Yeah.
This fool. Let's see. And then at that point, I want to do an interesting transition. So, unlike you had kind of mixed in animation with this. I would keep like an animation finale. So, like in that large space that's currently the Wizard of Oz, I would make it like a real celebration of Walt Disney animation. But to transition it from all this live action stuff to animation, I would throw in Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit.
Into one of the live action scenarios.
I almost said Roger Rabbit. Yeah.
And then transition into Toontown, where we're getting, obviously we'll have the classics. We'll have Snow White, we'll have Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, all that stuff. But I really want to see this stuff we never see. I want to see like Sword in the Stone audio animatronic. I want to see 101 Dalmatian figures. Like really deck it out with perhaps representation of every single Walt Disney animated feature somewhere in this giant Magisplosion of
That's like over 40 movies, right? 45
it's over
movies?
50 at this point. Tangled was 50, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would like to see of the Great Movie Ride. I think that's splendid.
Cool.
So
Splendid.
let's just
I agree. I think that is splendid.
let's just do that instead of getting rid of it. You think I could change their mind?
I like the idea much better than that.
What?
I like their proposed idea much
Are you
better
being
than
sarcastic?
that. Yes.
Oh. Well, if you haven't heard, it's being replaced by Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That is why we're losing the Great Movie Ride. I have heard, although I don't know how 100% true this is, that it's actually going to be a smaller attraction. And part of it is like part of the building is going to be removed, and there's going to be some pathways leading over towards Star Wars land.
Well, because behind there is the path to...
Isn't that where Honey, I Shrunk the movie set adventure used to be?
No.
Behind it? No.
Behind it is the path to Pixar.
Yes.
So that will be the new path to, or like one of the new paths to Toy Story Land.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I can understand that. I can see why they'd want to shrink the size of. I mean, that building is massive.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes, they actually used the shrink gun from.
Listen, if I could go back in time, I would want to see Rick Moranis get his handprints in front of the Chinese theater. That'd be great. Anyway, I digress.
He didn't invent a time machine. It was a shrink ray.
It was a shrink ray.
I can understand that. To me, the thing that I'm happy that the Chinese theater facade's not going away, and
that's what we hear. Have we officially heard that? Like,
we haven't officially heard that. You brought up a good point of the fact that they just invested a ton of money into building those all the projector rigs, and I mean, and the idea of the attraction is that you go into a theater to watch a Mickey Mouse short, and you are brought into the short. Yeah, you are brought into the screen, into the animated world.
Yeah, so they're having it make sense. What we do know about this ride is that it's themed upon the Mickey Mouse shorts that you can see on the Disney Channel. Has a very retro style.
For whatever reason.
Not my favorite. Might even make it dated quickly. I'm not sure. This is the first Mickey-themed ride in a Disney park, which is interesting and exciting. They say at the beginning of the ride, guests will be invited to watch the premiere of a new Mickey Mouse cartoon in which Mickey and Minnie Mouse prepare for a picnic outing and encounter Goofy conducting a train.
Yeah.
According to Imagineer Kevin Rafferty, guests will then pass through a simulated movie screen, as in the 2013 short Get a Horse, which I love.
Yeah.
Love Get a Horse. Where they'll experience a zippy, zany, out-of-control adventure. Guests will then be transported into the cartoon and aboard Goofy's train, which takes them on a wild adventure. The ride is described as 2.5D. Since no 3D glasses would be needed for the ride, it will also include more hidden Mickeys than any existing ride.
You know, they're saying this is new technology. They've never done anything like it before. From what they showed us at D23, it looks like projection mapping in a somewhat unique way. They're going to be flipping, they're going to be flipping set dressing around and projecting different things on it. It's going to be a lot of digital screens and projections, as far as I can tell.
I hope there's some really, really, really cool effect when you go into the movie screen.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that
you look
transition.
At yourself and you're literally animated.
I don't think that's going to happen. That would be amazing, though.
Yeah.
But I hope it's really just a boom moment of whoa, that just happened.
I hope that everything once you pass that, the ride vehicle, everything in that space looks animated. Yeah. I hope it's not some rides where it's the set looks cool and then the ride is an omnimover and it's very apparent. I don't think that'll be the case because you're supposed to be literally boarding Goofy's animated train.
Have they said anything about opening as far as dates or years other than before the 50th anniversary?
No, I think the 50th anniversary is
that's long
when it's supposed to.
So after Star Wars, obviously.
Yes. Well, maybe they'll try to time it within the same.
They don't need more people in the park once Star Wars Land opens.
Yeah. Well, they'll all be over. They need
I guess
they need attractions to get people away from Star Wars Land.
That's true.
One thing I'm sure that this is going to create is merchandising opportunities, which I just have to say, Great Movie Ride never
took advantage of that.
They let you exit right back into the park.
A huge part of the reason why that probably is the case is because they didn't have the license to print a lot of imagery from the ride on t-shirts and whatever, because they were all different studios. That's probably part of it.
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
I do find it kind of amusing that a week after the news broke, they're and we've got Great Movie Ride merchandise,
which I'm gonna get.
Oh yeah,
the Great Movie Ride, that's a wrap stuff I absolutely want.
It looks really cool.
It's such a great attraction. The whole Mickey thing. Do you think there will be any audio animatronic figures?
So that's what I thank you for reminding me about that, because I am interested to see what they showed us was all
looked projection.
screen or projection.
Yeah.
I really hope that there is some physical animatronics in the...
I don't know if there will be, and I kind of hope there aren't, which goes against what I normally think, but I feel like mixing the map projection with audio animatronic figures will just be inconsistently weird.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a weird... the attraction just in general is going to be weird.
Yeah.
So. And if you've seen those shorts, they're already really weird. Yeah. They're so bizarre. So who knows? I'm sure I enjoy them, but for me, they feel off-brand so often.
Yeah, they're weird. There's just a weird style. It's like...
Well, it's like SpongeBob SquarePants, like that, like
you think so?
Wait, there's some like really grotesque.
Oh, yeah.
Just as far as like the what Ren and Stimpy kind of started with or like the Ralph Bakshi like.
I know what you're talking
like
about.
zooming in on like lips and stuff like that, and for Mickey and Friends, that just feels wrong.
Yeah.
But who knows? I enjoy them, but like I said, it feels off-brand. And like we said, that seems like the weirdest choice of Mickey to...
I wanted classic Mickey so bad.
Yeah.
Or I really did think my kind of assumption was that it was going to... Because everybody kept calling it unofficially the Great Mickey Ride.
Right.
And so, like, for some reason, in my mind, even though I knew that probably wasn't going to be the name of the ride...
Mickey Through the Years.
Yeah. Animatronic style.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been cool. From Steamboat Willie to, I guess these shorts.
You have all the classic characters in there, you know? I'm interested. It'll be interesting.
It will certainly be interesting. So we have Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway to look forward to. The Chinese theater that we'll still be able to see, it sounds like.
You mentioned something to me, and I just have to bring it up because one thing that we're losing with this is learning about the movies.
It's not what the park's about anymore.
I know.
It's not. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We were talking, and I as a kid can remember more specifically, the Great Movie Ride to a point, but more specifically, my mind goes to Universal Studios where they used to have an Alfred Hitchcock attraction. And I had no idea who Alfred Hitchcock was, and I can remember liking the attraction enough to be like, I want to see that. And coming home from vacation and like my dad bringing home a Psycho VHS one night and being like, this is it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's that thing we saw at Universal. So like for me, it was kind of edutainment, right?
Yeah.
Like I was inspired by something at a theme park that I really had no idea about. And it was black and white even. And like, because of that, I became a fan of Hitchcock and Psycho. And I would even say the same for a Great Movie Ride. There are definitely things in there I'd never heard of and I've looked further into, maybe not have seen the whole movie, but I'm sure somebody out there has seen a scene from Alien or something in that attraction. Like, oh my God, that's the thing that scared me to death as a kid at Disney MGM Studios, and now I love the movie. Yeah, was that your introduction to Alien?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was like a 5-year-old kid when I saw that part of the ride. I was like... So
I feel like that in general is being taken away from us in the theme parks. There's a lot of, give them stuff they already know seems to be the mentality. We're not trying to teach anybody anything new anymore. I don't think when they made the Great Movie Ride, they expected 8-year-olds to know anything beyond maybe Wizard of Oz and Mary Poppins, So that's sad to see that go away.
I'm also interested to see what is the response going to be from the older generation to the new Mickey. No, like I don't think
old Mickey.
I don't think that. I don't think a lot of people. I mean, even our age are super familiar with.
Yeah, I don't really watch those shorts. I know of them. I don't watch them regularly. He'll probably become more known and associated with that attraction than with the actual shorts. Is my guess.
You think so?
Yeah.
Now, as a continuity guy,
yeah.
How does this make you feel when you like go into a ride that's Mickey and then you exit and it's like there's a different Mickey meeting and greeting?
Yeah, I don't love that. That doesn't come down. I don't even want to say dislike. I just don't have much opinion about those shorts. I think they're weird and kind of out of place and very retro. And I don't know. I just don't love what I've seen of them. So I was definitely disappointed. Like, jaw dropped, actually, at D23 Expo when they brought up the image. And I was like, really?
What?
That's the Mickey you're going with? Like, it was shocking to me. Definitely not the way I would go. It's not the Mickey I love so much. It's a different Mickey. But I'm looking forward to the Runaway Railway. I truly am. I'm very sad the Great Movie Ride's going away. It's a sad day that's coming. End of an era.
Do you think we'll see any Easter eggs from the Great Movie Ride?
I sure as heck hope so.
Yeah?
I really hope so. I mean, the building itself is kind of an Easter egg, right?
That's true.
We're keeping the theater. But, like, it'd be great if they somehow worked something in. A ruby slipper. I don't care. Whatever. But, yeah, it's very sad. But the time has come to say goodbye to the Great Movie Ride. So, anything else you want to add before we go?
No.
All right, I think that means it's trivia time. Hey, folks, for today's trivia time, I have Amy here with me. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Jeff.
Amy from the Disney Diet Podcast. How's it going over there?
It's good. We have fun recording. We've got all kinds of exciting things. I got to make a spreadsheet of upcoming topics. We have plans.
And it's not all about food.
No, despite the name, it is kind of all things Disney, as in making Disney a healthy part of your, your regular diet.
Sure, healthy, sure. We'll go with the word healthy here. I'm sure it's totally healthy, what we're all obsessed with. But today we're here for trivia time based around Cars Land.
Yes.
Why don't you hit me with your question?
Okay, my question is, what used to be where Cars Land is now?
An employee parking lot, from what I understand.
Very close.
A parking lot?
It was the Timon parking lot.
Okay, that's right.
So it was guests, and might have been employees at some point too, but most recently, before they closed it in 2009, it was for guests.
Not employees, cast members. Excuse me, my fault. Okay, yeah, parking lot was there, and I think even part of Bugs Land was a parking lot at one point. Basically, if it was expanded in DCA,
It used to be a parking lot.
It seems like it was a parking lot, which is kind of appropriate for a Cars Land, I would say.
It's themed.
Yeah.
They knew all along.
You know what I love is the cast member parking lot that's part of Test Track. Do you know about this?
No.
So when you're on Test Track in Epcot, you know the part where you zoom outside and there's kind of like this big circle.
Uh-huh.
And in the middle of this big circle are a bunch of parked cars in like a circle formation. Those are all cast members' cars.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Because you're technically backstage. Well, in that portion of the ride, and it's cast member cars.
They got to use every available space they can.
It's true. I think that's kind of fun. But today for trivia for me, do you know where you can find Buzz Lightyear in Cars Land?
Let me think about this. Pretty sure the answer's no, but maybe... Is it like an Easter egg situation? Maybe like in one of the shops?
Kind of.
I can't remember the exact shop names, though, so that's not going to get me anywhere.
Do you just describe the shop?
The one with all the signs, the Route 66 one across from Luigi's?
No.
No.
There is in the Cozy Cone office. So you know the whole Cozy Cone area?
Oh, yes.
In the Cozy Cone office, if you peek inside, which you actually can't go inside, it's more of a set piece than anything, but if you peek inside the window, you will see on the back side of it, around where you order all the food for Cozy Cone, a little Buzz Lightyear with like underneath an orange cone, which is a throwback to Toy Story 2 from that scene.
Nice.
Yeah, so keep your eye out for that the next time you're at Cars Land. It's a fun little hidden Mickey,
I
if
like
you will.
that. Like, get your snack and go look in the office.
Yeah, a lot of the if you have like a private tour guide there, they'll always point that out there.
Oh, nice.
So it's fun. Anyways, thanks so much for joining for today's trivia
Thank
time.
you for having me.
And here we go, back to the show. Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed that trivia time. Before we say goodbye, I do want to give a couple shout outs. You ready for some shout outs?
Yeah.
Shout outs to Ashley Milanowski.
What's up, Ashley?
Hey, Ashley Milanowski, what's going on? And Sierra Lane. Hi, Sierra Lane.
What's up, Sierra?
Hey, thanks for leaving 5-star written reviews on iTunes. Always appreciated. And it helps Disney fans find the show. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you go to iTunes and leave us a 5-star written review, and you'll get a shout out on the show.
Do you know how easy it is?
It's super easy. And if you don't know how easy it is, go to DisneyCoastToCoast.com, click on the frequently asked questions, and get your answer there. It's a breeze.
Because it is frequently asked.
Yes, that is true. I gotta admit, I did it. It's so easy to do, but it took me a second to figure it out.
Most of those comments are Jeff's.
That's not true. That is not true. But guys, now it's time to say goodbye to the great movie ride and universe of energy. GMR. Energy. Goodbye to these awesome attractions.
Forever.
That is so. I honestly don't think we could have ended the show in a more depressing way.
We hope we've left you with the same low down feeling that we are both feeling right now.
If you want a little bit more joy and happiness in your life, make sure you tune in next week. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to every Imagineer that worked on the Great Movie Ride. I love that attraction.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad to see it gone. And this is truly, truly the end of Disney MGM Studios. Is gone after this Sunday. Why do we keep ending it so depressing? Guys, have a fantastic week. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for watching Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.